Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the McIntosh County Board of Education's work session for September 5th, 2024. If you would, please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today with thankful hearts. And we also ask your continued blessings, your prayers, and your comfort on all the victims of the school shooting that happened in Barrow County. We are so thankful, dear Heavenly Father, that none of this has touched us, but yet touches our lives every day in the chaotic world that we live in now. We ask you to continue to bless this system, bless our teachers, bless our staff, make us ever mindful of our security measures and the needs and wants of others. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 3 is citizens address to board. We had one person sign in, Mr. Jarrell Wilson. If you would come on up, as you make your way up to the podium, I'll just remind you of our rules that we do not name students or teachers' names. You can tell us your concerns, but without those two things. Thank you.
Well, I know some of you guys. My name is Jarrell Wilson. I'm 36 years old. I grew up in McIntosh County. I graduated in McIntosh County. I went on to Valdosta State. Well, I didn't make it. I got hurt in football, and I just got upset and I just dropped all out. But I went back. I went to Tulsa Welding School, got my degree in that. But now I'm a truck driver, so I wake up every morning and drive the road while y'all sleeping. Thinking about going to work. Oh, I'm driving. But I'm here today just to address the sports program we got here in McIntosh County. I went to a game last Friday. No, Friday before. And I was like, I'm looking at it and I was a little upset because those are the kids on that football field that I coach. I was coaching down at the recreation for 12, 13 years now. I'm still coaching. And those same kids on that field are the same kids I coach. I got some of them calling me, Coach, I want to quit. I don't want to play no more. I said, no, you can't quit like that. We don't quit. Well, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to quit. I got a call yesterday. I want to quit. No, we're not going to quit. And like for the middle school example, I coach all of them. They just had a game yesterday. You're not going to win every game. You're not, because we don't win every game at the rec level. But to go and lose 31-0 in the same county we beat when I had them, it don't look good. Like, I'm trying to give another example. Tyron, y'all probably don't know him. He's a little kid, Tyron. I want to quit. They don't teach us nothing. All we do is one thing that you got to teach these kids. You can't, for example, they told me they have a wrestling coach coaching them football. You got to have the right coaches in the right places. Like, that's like telling me to do your job. I never did your job before. So why am I going to go pretend like I know how to do your job? You got to put the right coaches in the right places. Okay, for another example, I'm trying to think.
Just don't say a name.
I'm not going to say a name. I promise I'm not. Like the football field, the high school, it's a mess. It looks terrible. I got people laughing at us because they know I'm a big sportsman. We're not coming on y'all field. It look horrible. And I was told they spent a lot of money to get the field right. I can't tell. Couldn't even see the numbers on the field. That don't look good. We is a laughing stock right now. Everybody's calling my phone laughing. Kid, I got people trying to take my son away from him. Wonder why? To play sports at their facility. No, my son is McIntosh. He told me out of his own mouth, McIntosh or nothing. He's not playing for nobody else. But it upsets me when I coach these kids and they win on the lower level at the red, and they get to high school, they don't win nothing. They might have won a region because I've been in research. They might have won a region because it was 4 teams. Only 4 teams can go to state. If it probably were more teams, we probably wouldn't make it. We probably wouldn't go nowhere.
Your time's up. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach Jarrell.
We do appreciate your input.
We do. And thank you for what you do for our students as well.
I've seen him coach. I got a son out there now, and I've seen him. He's passionate. He cares.
Hey, I tell you, I coached how many years? About 18 years of rec ball. It's a tough job. But, you know. But when you see the kids move on up, you start seeing them win, which we had some good years, and yeah, makes you feel good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you again. All right, we'll move on to item number 4, which is approval of our work session agenda. We have our agenda items before us. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. McIver. Second.
Second.
Second by Ms. McDonald. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we'll move on to number 5 with our items of information. Dr. Williams?
All right, tonight's our night we get to hear from our school leadership teams. I did them in a different order, I think, this year. MCMS gets to start.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
And
Good evening.
honestly, I can say this is probably the most excited I've been to have a data presentation at the board. We did a really good job on our GMAS this year, and the presentation will show that.
Hey, before you start, we cannot give math scores tonight, like numbers, because they're still embargoed, and we don't know CCRPI scores. So they will tell you, they might tell you something about math, but they won't give you a specific score. Because Scott had some news he wanted to share.
All right, so without revealing too much information, yeah, we had several bright spots on Georgia Milestones this past year. We had the highest score ever in a lot of our different content areas. And whenever I say highest score ever, we're talking about the number or the percentage of proficient and distinguished. So 3s and 4s is what we're talking about here. And for ELA, we had the highest ever, so dating back to 2015, whenever GMAS began, number or percentage of proficient distinguished on 6th grade ELA, on 8th grade ELA, and on ELA as an entire school. For math, we had the highest proficient distinguished since 2017. We had the highest ever in math, and as a school-wide, we had the highest ever in math on proficient distinguished. Also did pretty well in Georgia Studies, and the big thing that you're going to see we need to work on is our science. So this is our 6th grade ELA. Again, the highest ever for MCMS on proficient distinguished. You can see we're at 39.8% of our students there, and we're creeping up on that state average. This year it was 41.7. We're hoping to beat that in the near future. For 7th grade ELA, we had a bit of a rocky start to the year last year. First semester, had a teacher that just didn't quite pan out for us. But second semester came on a little bit stronger. However, it was a backseat to Miss Gerald's performances in years past. That's why you're seeing a big drop there, and that's who beat the state the 2 years prior was Miss Gerald. I'm afraid I might have got it. There we go. 8th grade ELA. They had the highest ever scores, and this one really knocked the socks off of everybody else around us. You're looking at 53.2% of our students in the proficient distinguished range. That beats the state average quite handily by almost 9 full percentage points there. So this was a very stellar year for us. If you ranked our RESA scores, we were 3 out of 18 in this one, with Bryan and Effingham County being the only 2 to outscore us, and we beat the RESA and the state average there. Going back to ELA as an entire school, that was our highest ever for GMAS on proficient and distinguished. We were at 41.3% as an entire school. Again, we're creeping up on that state average. That's what we're looking to beat at 44.7. Moving on to Georgia Studies. It was the highest year we'd had since 2018. Miss Jenkins, it was her last year, and she retired last year, but she went out on a good note at 36.7, just below that state average for proficient distinguished. And then physical science. This was the category we really need to work on. If you check out 2022, 2023, and years prior to that, you're going to see us somewhere at about 35% on the proficient distinguished rate. We had Mrs. DeVerger, who was in that position at that time, and that was beating the state average. Okay, but later on, we had a new teacher come in as Mrs. DeVerger went to the instructional coach role to hopefully provide a bigger impact for our school. And that new teacher, we're working on. with content as well as organizational skills and classroom management. So we're hoping to increase those scores significantly this year. Okay. We also wanted to take a look at the MCMS journey, like how far we've come since 2015. So, Ms. Hewlett.
All right, so what you have up on the board is where we've come since 2015. So we have our ELA totals for level 2 and up, which is our developing through distinguished. And then we have a column with our level 3 and up, which is our proficient and distinguished. And if you'll notice on our level 2 and up, in 2015, we were behind the state 6.7 points, basically. And every year, we've started creeping away and plugging away and plugging away. So in 2016, we were behind 4.8, and then we were behind 3, and then we kind of backslid a little bit, went up to 6.2, and then we were at 3.5 in 2009 for 2 and up, but then look in 2021. And Mr. Brooker, Mr. Verger, and I, we really think that this was due to how we came back after COVID. We didn't say, oh, we're going to just give them grace. We taught, and our teachers taught, and it shows because we started creeping up into the green, and we started beating the state average or getting very, very close to it. So if you look in 2024, this past year, it was a really stellar year for us. So if we look at our level 3 totals at ELA, 3 and up, that's where our journey is now. 2 and up, we've gotten there. We feel like we are definitely ready. We're 2s and 3s. Our beginning categories are so small now that we really feel like we're ready to get those into proficient. So all of our remediation classes and all of those initiatives we have in place are pushing our kids to get to level 2. We now just have to get them to push to level 3. And when we go and look at these scores and we see them miss it by 1 point when we need a 524 and they're a 522 or a 523, and it's heartbreaking for them and for us. So if we look at the 3s and ups, yes, we still are in red, but look from 2015 to 2024, we're now at 0.4 instead of 10.2. So we're just very, very proud. If we go to math, you can see the same thing with our 2 and ups. I will say that 2024 scores look really good. I can't say how good they look, but they look good. Anyway, if you look from 2015 to 2019, that's pre-COVID. That those are when we were in red in that beginning and developing category. But if you look at 2021, same thing. We came back after COVID and our teachers taught. And we started slowly rising. And then for 3 and up, yes, we still have some work to do. But it is moving. We've gone from 12.7 now, I can't say. But in 2023, it was 6.8. So we are moving, and our teachers are teaching so hard every single day. We do have a new math 7th grade teacher who's phenomenal. She's brand new and excited, and the kids love being in the classroom. There is no discipline issues at all. Thank goodness. Thank you, Dr. Williams. But our teachers are teaching, and we are making fantastic gains.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Berger.
I wanted to share our map data with you guys. So first, we're really kind of looking at comparing our grades to grades from year to year. So we're looking at 6th grade last year compared to 6th grade this year whenever they took their map assessment. And so I've broken it into categories. So you're going to look at reading, and then you'll also have a math for each grade level. So for 6th grade reading, I just really wanted to highlight the difference in our levels 3s and 4s. I have broken our RIT scores, which may not mean a whole lot to you guys, but I broke our RIT scores into our GMAS levels so that we could really get a good comparison or prediction of where they would be if they took the GMAS now. And so you can see that from last year to this year, sixth graders, we did go down by 4.9% in the level 3s and 4s. But if we looked at the average RIT scores, just comparing them, they're very comparable. So, I mean, even 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for reading and math, the RIT scores are very comparable from year to year. And then this is our 6th grade math. So we did have a positive gain there. So we gained 0.6.7% for our level 3s and 4s. And then you can see our averages still for last year, the average was 208.3, and this year our average was 208.9. And so again, here we have our 7th grade now. We're looking at 7th grade reading map scores. We saw an increase by 3.4% for our level 3s and 4s for this year compared to last year. But what I was really excited about and wanted to share is the little gray box to the side. And so what that does is, I mean, it's great to see how our last year's 6th graders compare to this year's 6th graders, but I really wanted to see how much the 6th graders last year have grown. And so in that gray box where it says tracking, last year for fall, our current 7th graders, when they were 6th graders, their average RIT score was a 206.4. But this year, a 7th grader, so showing a year's growth, they've 211.4 was their average. So we've grown them 5 RIT scores in a year. So I was super proud of that. And then for 7th grade math, level 3s and 4s, we saw a decrease in that. So 3.8% of our students are not level 3s and 4s this year. But again, if we go back to our tracking and show our growth, for last year, the 6th graders, their average was 208.3, and then this year, as 7th graders, their average RIT score was a 214. So we've grown them 6.4 RIT scores in a year. And then for our lovely 8th graders, so our our reading map scores, our level 3s and 4s, we showed a growth of 4.2%. So we have 4.2% more scoring in the 3s and 4s. But if we track them from last year to this year, as 7th graders, their average was 212.5, and then this year their average was 217. So they've grown 5.4 RIT points in a year. And then our 8th grade math. So we did have a fall in that. So we decreased our level 3s and 4s by 3.2%. But then again, if you track them from year to year, they grew 4.4 points in a year. So, and I think the typical average growth is 3 to 5 points. So that means we're growing them at a good rate. So very proud of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Great job, by the way. Good job.
MCA. Did y'all have any questions?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The MCA data report. We've divided it up into 3, similar to what they did with the presentations. Looking here, jumping right into our end of course test scores over this past year. The push the last few years has been to get a 70 or above because in high school, of course, you have to get a 70 or above to pass the class and then to receive credit. So that push has been accomplished, similar to what Ms. Hewlett shared about the middle school. The journey to 2s has been successful for the most part. In American Lit, we've been in the 70% or more pass rate for a few years now. The 3s and 4s at a 31% pass rate. And you look there, it is moving from left to right for the most part, as it should be. But, the 42% in developing, those are moving from 1s to 2s. Now the mission continues to move from 2s to 3s and 4s. The American Lit reading status, it does show us that this past year, according to those metrics, 61% are at grade level or above with their reading levels, and 39% are below reading level. Our American Lit with students with disabilities, our students with disabilities is an area that is an ongoing thing that we are working diligently with the introduction of specifically designed instruction this year, moving that from lowering the bar to keeping the bar high to make sure they are accommodated appropriately. They are expected to learn these standards the same as all other students. But you look there, most of those students were beginning. 25%, we equaled the state with our students with disabilities at developing at 2s. So again, those 1s are moving to 2s slowly, but then moving them to 3s and 4s. Our action plan for our ELA, there's some glows and grows. The glows, students are passing at 70 plus for the to the EOC in line with the state and RESA. 73% scored 2 and up, which means they mastered the standards by passing the class. 61% of our students are reading at grade level. The grows, level 3s and 4s are not in line with the state or RESA. And that is something that is being pushed aggressively this year. Reading and vocabulary is our weakest area on the EOC. That is true across all tests. One of the things we are doing more and better than in the past as we address this is to front load the vocabulary for these things, because in these high school classes it's informational text. It's not just basic words, it's words that are specific to the subject. And to implement strategies to expand students' vocabulary, enhancing their ability to understand these complex texts. And at the bottom, that's our plan of action. We continue to push the literacy across all subject areas, exposing the students to more informational text, and that's happening in our English, science, social studies, and some math. Increase the rigor on the assessments. One of the things that we've discovered through test scores and data, but also with our just talking to kids. Our students, for whatever reason, whatever level they are at reading or with the subject, they tend to skip over questions that have multiple parts or that have reading passages in it. So we are exposing them to more of that through the teaching and the instruction through the semester before they take the EOCs in these classes, so that they have confidence and they're able to attack those questions more. It becomes, how do you take the test more than what do you know, but it's part of the process in increasing the scores on these tests. My path will begin in 9th grade to support struggling readers and address individual learning needs. We've put in cell phone pockets this year, which are working incredibly well. Students are expected to put their cell phones in a pocket on the wall. It looks like a shoe holder, but it's for phones. And students are more engaged. Teachers have reported back that the pacing is better because students are paying attention. They're not locked in on their phone, or they're not worried about the buzzing in their pocket. Those phones being out of their possession is already reaping rewards for our students. And then the Lead Embrace initiative for our special education students, which the whole district is involved in. Our biology, this is an area of great need as we look forward. And we have action plans for this as well. These scores were not what we expect, not even close. The 2s to 4s, only about 49% passed with a 70 or above. 3s and 4s at 19%. That did not move in the right direction, and it is of concern and focus. Our biology, students with disabilities, again, most of those were beginning and did not move left to right. Our action plan, the GLOWs, the illuminated assessments, which are the assessments where we can raise the rigor in the DOK knowledge from 1s to 2s, 2s to 3s, and 3s to 4s. They're aligned with the rigor of the biology EOC. And biology offers a hand-on engaging activities. GROWS, again, vocabulary continues to be an area of focus, so that when they read a question, they are not missing the question because they don't understand the words. These are all specific to the subject.
We're exposing more of the informational text as we talked about in English, and we're implementing more frequent formative assessments to catch those struggling students before we get to the test. The plan of action, our ELA teachers are providing science-based informational text. They're teaching the skills of writing and reading, but what they read and write about crosses the curriculum. We are also vertically teaming. The ninth grade environmental science is going to introduce genetics, heredity, things that they're going to have in biology in 10th grade. Evaluating the curriculum map to make sure we're covering all the standards, and we are. We're going to administer benchmark tests to identify kids that need that extra help. The bubble kids that are maybe a question or two away from moving from a 1 to a 2 or a 2 to a 3. Cell phone pockets again and embrace. That's across the board. All right, U.S. history is a point of pride with what happened last year. 2s to 4s is 77%. We're pushing 80% that are mastering the standards at 70% or above. So they're passing U.S. history. 3s to 4s are at 34%. You look at the comparisons to state and RESA. Our 1s went down, our 2s went up. Our 3s matched the RESA and beat the state. And our distinguished is still a work in progress, but that's more than we had last year. So those are moving left to right as they should. And our action plan, is to push to those 3s and 4s more consistently. You can look at those. We continue to make sure they have access to a variety of historical resources, including primary documents and multimedia, and multiple opportunities for students to read and write. This stuff, it goes into every subject. We're using thinking maps again, which is helping kids organize their thoughts, which is working really well. Our grows, we needed to grow the 3s and 4s, and we need to make sure the rigor continues to improve and increase. Plan of action, reading across the curriculum. World history, similar to science with environmental science leading into biology, world history is now making a connection to U.S. history with that vertical teaming. A lot of this is crossover, and they'll see it for 2 years for the most part instead of just the 1. An emphasis on vocabulary, we've talked about that. ELA classes will teach political cartoons, lots of those questions on the test. And again, cell phone pockets and lead embrace has raised the engagement in every classroom at the high school. Yeah, turn it over to Ms. Pop.
Okay. Well, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The middle school's presentation and the high school's presentation up until this point, we've had a couple of subjects where teachers retired and there was a new teacher put in place. Number one, I would like to ask if we're still doing the new teacher buddy system. Mm-hmm. Number two, if we are we mapping or charting or looking at this new teachers? I understand we may not have been in school 9 weeks already, but last year, are we looking at 9 weeks at test scores? Are we looking at the second at the end of the first semester test scores for these new teachers to see that these kids are sliding? And with biology, biology concerns me. Is that the same biology teacher year after year?
Our biology teacher last year was his first year at the high school. It was his first year in high school, period. Finding science teachers that are certified has been a challenge. And that's not an excuse, it's just real. It's reality.
Okay.
And we...
Okay.
Okay.
Finish your sentence.
He came in. His first semester grades were very good. His second semester grades were not. And yes, the answer to your questions about mapping and looking across, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And the work he's done into his second year has been incredible. I mean, his kids are already benefiting from the work that he's done to improve and that we've done to support him in that improvement. He came to us from middle school GDETs in Savannah. Now, that's a far cry from teaching high school anywhere. But he is certified in science. His passion is science. He knows science. And his passion is to continue to improve. So This year also, we are, instead of one teacher teaching the EOC classes, we have split those up. In science, Mr. Ant, who is now teaching science at the high school, second semester will be teaching biology as well. I know I'm getting.
I know that's painful. I know
He's
that's painful.
still upset about
I
that.
know it's painful.
I have stink eye guard up right here because I know I'm getting it.
You felt it.
I felt it. Yes, it was a little warm.
If she's teaching biology, you just sit there and be quiet.
Yeah.
But Mr. Rand is teaching that. Our PLCs now, instead of one teacher teaching it to compare it to himself or herself, we can have those rich conversations about total improvement for the total program. And we are looking at biology to improve dramatically.
Well, and I understand all of that, and I understand that it's not easy to be a teacher. It's not easy to be an administrator. But just hearing these reports year after year and looking at what stays in the decline and when teachers retire, I would think, I'm not an educator, I'm a social worker, I would think that maybe we would have something in place to at least look at these classes at the end of a semester or even at the end of the first semester during Christmas holidays to see where the slide is or where if there's any improvement from next year. And I applaud the good work. I support everybody, and McIntosh County means a lot to me. But I also know how much better we could be. We could be proficient in every one of these topics had we enforced our student policies and put those cell phones up 10 years ago. That's all I got to say about that. First year, what are we in school? 6 weeks maybe? And everybody sees a difference. So, that's on us. But I would like to see, I hope that we can keep the student policy, the dress code, the cell phone. I would like to see that enforced forever and ever. Amen.
You'll be hearing about enforcement after January 1st when you're enjoying your retirement.
Well, I already regret, I'll be honest with you, I already regret not running for another term because even though I'll be doing other things, I love the school system and I love the people here.
Absolutely.
And I want the same out of everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I'm just thankful that we've seen an instant improvement hanging those cell phones wherever you put them.
And no flack.
No.
We've not got any flack from parents.
Kids push back a little. We're getting them.
Yep, they get there.
Thank you, Mr. Willis.
Good evening.
Let me make one quick comment about the color scheme of the earlier charts. I just didn't want you to think that was missed.
The blue and
unique, yeah, that was interesting.
I call that too.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's okay to say War Eagle, it won't kill you.
Oh, no, we're not going that far.
I didn't even notice that, Mr. Tregle.
Yeah, that won't happen.
I just saw the red.
All right, moving. I wanted to just share a little bit about some of the other things that our students are doing. This year we have 107 students participating in programs outside of the high school. We went from 15 students going to GICA last year to 27 students traveling over this year. Coastal Pines Technical College, 39 students last year to 43 this year. CCGA, we had 25 students. We're down to 24 this year. Savannah Technical College, we started partnering with them as well last year. We had one student last year, one student this year. They have to travel to Hinesville to do that one. And then the Accelerated Career Diploma Program. Last year we had 4 students, and this year we had 12. And as far as the Accelerated Career Diploma, last year most of them did welding, and one I think did healthcare sciences. And this year, the 12 of them, almost all of them are doing welding. Yeah. They have jumped on that program. But another thing that I would like to say about the Accelerated Career Diploma, some of the kids sometimes think, oh, I can graduate early. But the majority of these kids, they don't want to graduate early. They want to continue to go and use that 64 hours of credit they can get and earn extra certificates to make their resume look better.
That's great.
That's a good thing. And then
courses taken at these places. Last year they took 26 to 49. At GICA, Coastal Pines, 140 courses were taken to 84 that are being taken currently. At CCGA, there were 74 for the year. There are 34 currently, and Savannah Tech, 3 for the year, and then 3 currently.
And the current is only one semester.
Yeah,
It's only this semester.
The programs at Savannah Tech, the certificates, one semester they take 3 classes and they have that certificate.
Oh, wow.
So, my child did it last year and he got the HVAC certificate. He's working in it, loves it. So he's doing good. Miss.
Good
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
I get to talk about the fun things, really. The CTSO or the CTAE programs. In high school, kids have an opportunity to drop out at 16 if they want to. We have to find some way to keep the kids in school so that we can meet our ultimate goal, which is for them to graduate. And so many things about high school is about relationship building to keep the kids in school so that we can get them through the finish line. Our CTSOs, we have 151 kids participating in some form of CTO, whether it's FFA, which is killing everybody with 94 kids, Skills USA with 25 kids, and FBLA with 26.
He's got a fourth of your kids. He's got a fourth of your kids in FFA.
That's right. That's quite a few. And then DECA, which is new, has six students, and that's current. They haven't all had their drives yet, but when I asked them for the numbers, this is what we got, which we're pretty proud of the participation that they get, because these kids are finding pathways, things that they want to do when they leave high school. We only have them for 4 years before they're out in the world, and we want them to be prepared to do something whenever they leave, find an interest of some form. And the people that are in charge of these CTSOs are fantastic mentors and build really good relationships, positive relationships with all the kids. And then our extracurricular. We have 382 kids, and 323 of our kids are participating in some extracurricular activity. Again, it's about building up those relationships, having mentors, having something that keeps you involved in school so that we can keep them. Sometimes in the 9th and 10th grade, they need to grow up a little bit, and a totally different child shows up in the 11th grade. And just keeping them there is really important until they can find that maturity so that they will graduate, which is what our graduation rate is 99%, which is the ultimate goal of what we're doing out of the high school. So if we can get 99% of our kids graduated and prepared for either college, a career, technical school, or the workplace or military, then we've got them off to a good start. So it's kind of the whole child and what we can do while we have them there for those last few years of their free of responsibility life. That's what we want to do.
Because adulting is hard, right?
Adulting, yes, they're going to begin, and once they leave us, they can start and enjoy it if they want to. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
All right, Todd Grant. It's now your show.
Like they're going to sing? They might.
She's hiding.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Todd Grant Show.
All right.
Are you going to sing?
We're not.
You're not going to sing for us? Okay.
No, we're not going to sing. We're excited to share our data, not only to share our data, but to share our journey and tell our story. So when you look at our numbers, it's just not numbers. This is a story of the journey that our students have made, that our teachers are still on, and it's a testament to the hard work that we're doing at the elementary school. Our theme this year is a road to success. Our goal is to be number 1 in the first district RESA and in the state. Our total student population right now is 696 students, and we get students every day. We were fortunate to add a 4th pre-K class. We have 5 homerooms in kindergarten, 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and we added a 6th homeroom in 2nd grade. Currently, we have 38 homeroom teachers, including 3 self-contained SPED teachers. We have a total of 83 total staff, not including cafeteria and custodians. And that includes 1 principal, 1 assistant principal, and 1 academic coach. But we work together as a cohesive team.
All right.
And now, Ms. Morris is coming to share some data about 3rd grade.
All right, this is our 3rd grade ELA comparison data. We did 22, 23, and 24. There were some positive and negative movements. As you can see, our beginner learners rose a little bit in this grade. We did get 13 new students compared. We had 104 students in 2024, and we only had 91 in 23. We did, out of this population, there were 19 SPED students in this grade level. But overall, 62% are developing or higher. But there are too many still in the beginning, so that is a focus for us this year as well. All right, these are our glows and grows. Our glows, the RESA was 36.1, and Todd Grant beat it in 3rd grade ELA with 38.1. The state was 38.4. They did get us a little bit by 0.3 points. But we almost did it. Our reading status in 3rd grade is 63.46, which means they it's like 520 to 820 in the grade band, so they are reading on grade level. We had a lot of focus on phonemic awareness, phonics, and comprehension. Our grows for 3rd grade is to get our CCRPI Lexile target, which right now is at a 42.31 according to, this is calculations that we do in-house. It's not
the official.
It's not the official yet. So we do want to increase that to get it higher, because within the grade band, the Lexile is midway, is halfway. So we do want to increase that. We want to focus more in the upper grades, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on word study and vocabulary, because that's playing a big part, and we see what benefits it has gained us in our K2 working on the phonics piece. So that the word study and vocabulary is kind of like their phonics lesson. And then Ms. Ricker's going to talk about the writing.
Okay, so we've kind of made this journey through all of the phonemic awareness, phonics, and comprehension and building that up. And that has to continue because we're still not where we want to be. But a big part of the reading scores is the writing, the ability of the students to write. So last year, at the end of the year, I created, with many people, a person from every grade level, a writing team. And that was to get buy-in from the teachers. Like, they have input into this team. They're helping create the plan, the exemplars of what writing examples should look like at every grade level. And then we will share that out with the whole school, and we'll all be on the same path. We have a training coming up, a writing rope training with RESA, and we have grade level writing expectations that I have created to get out. So they will know, like, specifically by the end of kindergarten, students should be able to write 3 complete sentences that remain on topic, blah, 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 all of those things. So those expectations are out there. That applies, I'm not going to repeat myself, for 4th and 5th grade. That's the same for each grade level.
The writing plan or team is actually K5.
Yes.
So in that is a work in progress. If you remember previous years when we presented, Todd Grants presented, we talked about how, like our kids were having trouble even reading. And so we got that pretty much fixed. And then it was the comprehension, and we were working on that still, but now it's time to address the writing, and that's why we decided to develop a team. Okay, this is 4th grade. We had positive shifts in all areas in 4th grade, even math. When you get to see those, you're going to be very happy with our math.
I heard those 4th grade math scores are just phenomenal.
They are very good. Our 4th grade math scores are very good. So we had positive shifts as a whole. These students performed well. Even last year in 3rd grade, they performed well. These are our 4th graders this year. Right now, we have 78% of our students that are levels 2s or higher in 4th grade.
That's great.
Your little graphs went the right way.
One thing well, that's for math, but we're doing it for ELA too. We are taking our MAP reports, and there's an instructional plan, and our like we said, our 4th grade math scores were phenomenal. Those teachers took their instructional plan from MAP, and it tells you exactly what they need, and they took it, and we're doing that. So we're not only making all K-5 teachers do that for math, but they're doing it for ELA too. We just met with them yesterday. We just got finished with math, so we printed the reports for everybody. We met with all
they
three.
They have like an expectation sheet for small group reading and an expectation sheet for small group math time, and how we will monitor that they are doing what we've asked them to do.
All right. Here's fourth grade, the grows and glows. We beat the RESA and state in fourth grade. Our reading status is 60.67%. Again, we're still working on the phonemic awareness, phonics, and comprehension, but our big focus this year will be the writing, as Ms. Ricker said. Again, our midpoint, which is the CCRPI Lexile, is 46.07, and we're still going to focus on getting 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to do the word study and vocabulary focus. Here is 5th grade. We have 76% of them are developing or higher. It does look like the shifts kind of went the opposite way, but if you look at what these 5th graders did in 4th grade last year, they increased. So if you pay attention to the gold bar or the yellow bar, last year when these 5th graders were in 4th grade, we had 31% in the beginning, and now we only have 24. In the developing category this year, we had 39%, and we had 38. In the proficients this year, we have 35, and we only had 27 last year. We did go down a little bit in the distinguished. We had 2% this year, where we had 5% last year. So that did drop a little bit. So our kids did make improvement, even though on there it kind of looks like we went backwards a little bit compared to the kids before in 5th grade. All right. Our ELA glows and grows. Our reading status here, which means on grade level within the grade band, was 70.559%. Again, our focus is still those three areas. We did not beat RESA and state. They beat us in 5th grade ELA. And we're still working on the word study, vocabulary, and writing.
Okay. So what we did, we took a look at we dug deeper into the data to figure out, okay, we had so many kids scoring a level 1 in the beginning level, what happened? What was actually going on? So we dug down into the data and looked at their actual reading level, their Lexiles from the year prior. And if you look at the 4th grade section, it shows you that their Lexile was, they had 187 growth points in 1 year. A typical growth is about 100 points a year. So this is absolutely amazing. It was not enough to move them from that level 1 achievement level, but when you look at the overall progress of those students, they had like a 1.5 to 2 year gain in their reading ability in a year's time. So, and this was some SPED and EIP students primarily that were level 1s that we looked at. And so it's real important for them to be able to track their growth by looking at the Lexile and not just comparing them to 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s. If you look at 5th grade, they also had a growth of 144 points.
And again, this is only 4th and 5th grade because we compared student to student.
It's actually their data from 1 year to the next year, so we could see how much they grew in a year's time. Okay. Oh, this is me too? All right. We went to a training last Friday, and we got this idea to explain our literacy journey with you. So when I came back, anyway, well, it might not have been last Friday. It was 2 Fridays ago. But anyway, the state's implementation of House Bill 538 fully began this year, but Todd Grant began it sometime back in 2023 with our teachers beginning the letters training earlier on. So we were a little ahead of the game. But if you'll look at this dip right here, normally when you begin implementing any kind of literacy program or anything new with teachers, they're in that now section, that unaware, unwilling, they're fearful, they don't know what they don't know. Like our teachers didn't know that they needed some help in the phonics area or in teaching of reading. I myself learned a whole lot of stuff that I did not know. You know, it's not, they don't know what they don't know. That's all there is to it. Then you move to the getting started, where you might need a little polite shove, but you get to going. By year 3, you start to see the productive struggle.
And what's so cool for us right now is that Todd Grant is actually in between the started productive struggle section and the developing, beginning to see change. And we're actually further along onto the developing side than the started side. And it's only been a year and a half. And
Wow.
typically you wouldn't see those changes until year 3. So we have been really working hard. I mean, we really working hard and working the teachers hard. Majority of our people are on board. There's only a few resistant pockets of people. Once they see the data and the improvements coming, they just seem to come along. So,
and in this training that we were getting coached on, they said those teachers who are so resistant, don't spend so much of your time with them trying to force them to do it. That spend your time on the people who want the change, because once those people who are being resistant see what's happening in those classrooms and what their kids are able to do, they're going to jump on those.
And it really has been happening just like that. You don't have to say much. And most of it's old timers. Like, I'm just going to say it. It really is, because you think you're like, oh, I know how to, you don't
I've
have
been
to
teaching reading for 20 years.
You're not going to tell me how to teach reading, like, whatever. But then when they see the little 23-year-old teacher across the hall having all these high scores, they're like, oh, okay. So, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
The next one's you too, Mr. Cook.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me come on. All right, this is our road to success. These are the things that we're going to continue to do and what we're going to be implementing to keep up this pathway that we're on. Continue implementing the science of reading strategies. These are all evidence-based instructional strategies that our teachers have to use, including EIP and SPED teachers. We will use explicit systematic phonics instruction, explicit writing instruction, again, the writing plan with the team. All of our K through 3 general education, SPED, and EIP teachers are in the letters or some science of reading program this year.
And when we go to training, it's amazing like how far Todd Grant is with that, because some people are just starting out now, and they have to have all this stuff set in the place already. So we are ahead of the game with this House bill.
We really are, because this year officially all K-3 teachers are in a program. As a matter of fact, our first cohort to finish, we will finish in October with the letters training. And then we have another one right behind us. So it's been amazing. All 4 through 5 general education and connections teachers will be enrolled in a science of reading program by next year. Of course, we will continue to implement visible learning, backward design. That has been tremendous help for our teachers doing the backward design the correct way with our reading and math assessments. We will have small group expectations. We just told you all that about that they have been implemented and are going to be monitored. Ms. Morris, myself, Ms. Gondia, and Ms. Middleton are also attending letters facilitator training. So we will be able to do in-house coaching and modeling as we need to in the future with the letters. Now it's you.
As I stated earlier, our theme this year is a road to success. So on this road to success, or anytime you're traveling, there's always points of interest. So we're going to look at some of the points of interest. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we looked at our beginning learners, as Ms. Ricker has already said, and we kind of identified those students as, and you see in 3rd grade we have 42 beginning learners. 22 were EIP, 15 were SPED, which accounted for 88% of our beginning learners. In 4th grade, SPED and EIP students counted out of the 20 students, that was 90%, or 18 out of the 20. In 5th grade, we had 25 beginning learners, and they counted as 84%. So we had high percentages of EIP and SPED students that were beginner learners. So we know that that was an area that we needed to focus on. We do have a district initiative, Lead Embrace. Over the last few years, we had self-contained EIP classrooms. We kind of changed that this year, and instead of having self-contained, the self-contained model, we actually have 3 EIP teachers that either push in or pull out, so students can get 2 segments of reading and math. They double dip in reading and math to try to close those gaps. SPED, we have a tremendous amount of growth in the SPED population. Seems like all the new kids that's coming to the school has some kind of IEP or accommodation that we have to provide support in. as you
And we
can
just got you another special ed teacher, so that should help with that, right? Last week or last month?
Yeah. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, sorry.
So we have 6 grade levels with 4 SPED teachers, and I know in the perfect world we would have a SPED teacher for every grade level. Please, please, please. But if possible. And in 4th grade,
You don't want much.
no, not much.
He's
And
not
in
begging for a whole lot.
4th grade alone, we have 22 SPED teachers. I mean, 22 SPED students. We have 3 different teachers serving that grade level. And we believe if we move the SPED population in EIP, if we move those needles, we'll move the school. So that's an area that we are focusing on.
And that teacher that you just mentioned, our self-contained class has grown tremendously. So we actually have to use that teacher to split that class up.
Okay.
We were
Sorry.
overpopulated.
Okay. So now
We've
you need another
had
one.
a whole bunch of people move in here.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm sped in a lot of different categories, but I'm proud of every one of them, trust me.
Okay.
But anyway, so I just want to be sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So we had a self-contained class,
Yes, ma'am.
and then we took those for EIP or SPED now.
EIP and SPED are different.
Okay,
so
so did,
EIP or early intervention, like we try to catch them
right.
up. They're a little behind. So with those, we had self-contained. Like only 14 kids can go in that classroom.
Right.
And so that's how we've been doing it for years.
Okay, so
this year we've changed. We don't have any self-contained EIP, the early intervention class.
Right.
They're all pull out or push in. That way, when they're, we try to make it where if they're in during small group reading time, they see their teacher before they leave out of the classroom, and then they get an additional teacher to teach them reading as well. Where they were self-contained, they didn't have that additional teacher. It was all up to the homeroom teacher. So we've changed that because we did not feel like self-contained EIP was working or benefiting them because they really were not getting extra.
Okay, so now what about the SPED self-contained?
SPED self-contained are those that can't go into the co-taught classrooms.
It's the ones that are more severe.
Okay.
Severe, yes. But that class has like 13
Well, over 13 kids in it.
13 kids in it right now. And so the SPED teacher we originally were hiring to help us with the co-teaching services, they got pulled to be in, to
The
separate
self-contained SPED.
To be in some
And does the self-contained SPED teacher have a parapro?
There's one.
But there's a law. I mean, I think
There's a law.
there's a law depending on the severity of
I know the
disability.
ratio,
You could only
I know there's
have,
a ratio, but I don't know what the
It depends on their
So what you really tell us,
severity
you
of
need one more special ed.
I mean, do not.
We got you.
Okay, so
Well, I mean, and we get it in a perfect world, but we are here to educate these students, and will they get the services? If you do not have another teacher? That's my concern. You know, when it comes to special ed, you have to serve them.
See if we can do a parapro and not a teacher.
Okay.
But
ideally, we need, with that severe class and the level of involvement, we need one teacher per no more than about 8 students.
Right.
And right now, we're really 2 teachers for 13, and I heard today we may have potentially 4 more students potentially going into that self-contained class, which means the state requirements is that you can't have a certain number.
Right.
So to get to 8 or 9 with one teacher and a parapro,
You got to split.
You might need to be looking.
okay, so I know y'all changed up to do something different this year, and you pulled out the self-contained EIP so that there was no longer any self-contained. So
SPED is different.
I understand. So where did the self-contained EIP teacher go?
They were a regular grade level classroom teacher, but we would just have their class size being capped at 14, so they would only have 14 students, whereas the other teachers may have 20 to 23.
Yeah.
So they had smaller numbers, and so they could get to the students. You know, it made teaching a lot more easier for them to try to build them back up.
Right.
And I'm not saying it didn't work. It's not as efficient, I think, as the model. When you compare the numbers from what the self-contained students did to what the pull-out EIP teachers were doing, you could see the difference. Because they were actually having 2 certified teachers work on a content area that they really were struggling in.
And
So
EIP kids that were in the regular class had a model.
Right.
They were
Like-
mixed in, where if they were a self-contained EIP class, they were all glowed.
And so they never really had any aspirations. Like,
Okay.
oh, I see my friend Sally.
I got
look
you.
at that
I
one
got
she's
you.
reading,
So,
you know.
okay, like Missy said, in a perfect world, okay, forget the perfect world. In McIntosh County School System, what do we need?
Well, talk about put somebody on the spot.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Okay, we want to be in compliance.
Listen, we
and
want to
serve
walk
our
this
students
journey. We
and-
want to run this journey. We want to do whatever in this journey. So, at Ty Grant, what do we need?
I would like another sped teacher.
And 8 new classrooms.
Yeah.
He's really out of room. He's out of room.
So we have, even if we get another sped teacher, we have to find some place in the building for that person to go. But
I understand.
I would like another sped teacher.
I understand. Yes, sir, I do.
We'll talk
I would
about
like another. Oh, since I'm asking.
No, wait a minute.
Stop it. Go to your seat.
Don't push it.
Shoot for the moon, Mr. Mitchell.
You know,
Hey, if it's about student improvement, tell us. Because that's what we're here for.
well, and here's another thought that just popped into my sped mind. What if we moved the 5th grade to the A wing and left pre-K through 4th over there? Would you have enough room?
See, that would take 5 classes. Yep.
It's still 5 classes either way we move it.
Right.
It's still 5 classrooms.
5.
Yeah,
Yes.
either way we move it.
Well,
That would be harder on your EIP people.
It would.
Trying to get over.
Well, not if you put a.
Well-
Not if in a. Okay, but not if in a perfect world at Ty Grant, if you had an EIP teacher for every grade.
Oh.
Well, wait a minute now.
I'm just saying. You know, 5th graders can get to the library. They can get to the gym. They can get to the lunchroom. You know, we don't have all these 3-year-olds running back and forth across the parking lot. Just a thought.
Well, we'll put that on the day-to-day operations, people.
Gotcha.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, if we're taking what we want, we didn't ask the other schools.
Oh,
On our wants
sorry, guys.
list.
We didn't ask the high school or the middle school what they needed.
Are
Y'all
you
okay
all
on
in?
room?
Middle school's doing great.
Y'all
Y'all's
okay
doing-
on room? Are y'all okay on room? Okay.
Some what?
We need some parent support. If
Hey, y'all have 5 rooms?
Y'all
Y'all got 5 rooms?
Yeah, currently we don't have
We
any,
have
no GAA students, none of those self-contained students. They're in our building with our general education kids, and managing those students has been difficult.
So,
Yeah, I could imagine.
And that was created because of the breakout of the EIP?
No. That has nothing to
Just
do-
asking. Okay.
I don't think I heard what you said. I'm sorry. I heard you say
The
something.
GAA classes, the self-contained, yes, Mr. Aaron profound is
Right.
but we don't have any students in that category at the middle school.
Okay.
6th, 7th, or 8th grade. There were some who were formerly in that category, but now amongst our general population, and so managing their needs has been difficult.
So they tested out from GAA?
Are those the children that used to go to Huntsville on the short bus?
That's
Oh,
GNETs.
GNETs. Oh, we don't have any GNET kids anymore?
Yes.
We've got
Oh.
one.
And he's still a GNS.
Okay.
We have 5 in the system. 5 in the system total?
What makes it difficult? Because you, I mean, hey, we're here to talk about it.
So some of their ability levels don't match up anywhere near with that of their peers. If we're talking about a 1st or a 2nd grade reading level, it's tough to educate those kids side by side with kids that are almost home grade level. Also, some of their behaviors, Tourette's or socially inappropriate behaviors, can interfere with the learning process.
Yeah, we know that.
So are they doing milestones?
Yes,
Yes.
and they count for our numbers.
Yep.
We have a few of those.
See, our
Really?
special ed population now is at 10.
So how do we fix that?
We are fixing it.
We are.
We're fixing it, number one, by
speaking about. So what we're doing is we're undoing some problems that happened in the past. So kids that he's referring to that were in elementary school that were inappropriately placed on the GAA platform as far as testing, it really modified the curriculum that they were on. So they were not on the general education curriculum. After re-evaluating these students and determining that they were not in the right placement, they had to come off the GAA and get back on and go on the milestones. That is what he's talking about. So we have kids that were reading at second and third grade level that are now sitting in middle school because of the change in their placement. Not being, because the way the state law reads when it comes to students on GAA, they have to be significantly cognitively delayed. Not just learning disabled. They have to be the lowest of the lower kids. And so again, we had some of those kids in classes that were not appropriately placed, and now they're coming to middle school and they're reading at a very low level, and because they haven't had the social interactions that were appropriate for a classroom, they're getting in regular classrooms and they're having to learn this all over again. And so the teachers are challenged, like Mr. Brooker's saying, with how do we manage this?
Right.
And they need additional support. That's why he's saying, well, we have an additional parapro that could work with the kids, because a lot of their difficulty is they can't keep up.
Right.
The reading is 6th, 7th grade.
That's right.
But they're reading 3rd grade. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
And so that's where the change in things he's talking about. And this again with the state, give you a little bit more history real quickly. The state, because of the federal regulation, requires only 1% of our population, no more than 1% of our population will be on GAA. In the past, we were 1.5, 1.7. Last year was the first time since I've been here that we were 0.73, which was below that. Statewide, we're about 1.8. This is all the schools in the state. The federal government has basically put us on a conditional waiver, which basically says if we don't change those placements and make sure that they're appropriate, they're gonna reduce our federal funding for our programs. So it's almost like a catch-22. We place kids that should be there, but they're saying that if we don't reduce that percentage, they're going to start cutting federal funds. And I've already talked to Tammy about that and Dr. Williams. So there's a catch-22. I don't think they really understand the demographics of kids and the family. It's almost like the CRCT when they had the bell curve and
Right.
everybody going to the right-hand side of the curve.
It doesn't matter what your population is. They just expect it to be 1%.
Every community is different. Every population is different. So we're serving kids that should be appropriately placed in the program. But a lot of times in the past, what has happened, schools use those assessments as a way to do a catch-all. In other words, if we knew the low kids were going to bring down our milestone scores, it was easier to put them in those type of classes where they're on a modified curriculum. The key here is when you talk to a parent, when you make that decision, those kids will not graduate from high school on the GAA with a regular diploma. They will have an alternate diploma, which means their livelihood and their future is affected by the fact they don't have a high school diploma. They leave high school, and then we're looking at probably some type of supportive instruction, some type of day half program where they're not really earning the money to take care of themselves and developing any independence. So it's like I said, a catch-22 with that. And understand what the middle school is saying.
Yeah, and it sounds like it because are they truly getting what they need when they're sitting in those classrooms that it's way above their head? Are they truly getting the education they deserve? Although we can only have the 1%, but if we have 10% and that's where those students need to be, yeah, and I get what you're saying, it's a catch-22, but you know, the students need what the students need.
Right. And so what Scott and Mr. Brooker's talking about is that if we had additional support for those type students, like at the middle school, where they could get more of the remediation in preparation to getting to high school, because again, we need them with the reading, writing, and math basic skills once they enter high school. If we can get them that far, then we can start working with them to move them toward the high school diploma. The state doesn't allow us to move them from one curriculum or assessment to another. You don't. If you start off on GAA, that is basically you're setting your future and saying I'm getting the alternate diploma. A lot of districts they would put kids on milestones, and then if they were unsuccessful, they would inappropriately place them on the GAA, so their overall scores wouldn't be reflective of those low performance scores with those students like that.
All right. Right, so they've all been reevaluated and
These
they've.
students, yeah, and we could not make that move to change their placement until we made a determination where they were based on the reevaluation. And again, significant cognitive delay, meaning kids that are way like IQs of 50 and below. Most of the kids that we reevaluate and reassess, their IQs, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, but from the data shows them at 72, which is the lowest of low average. So they're right there, not mildly intellectually disabled, but right a little bit higher than that to where they're functioning very well. We used to refer to them as our slow learners, and that's what they refer to, but there's no disability category for
And
slow
all the
learners.
kids that were moved out have been reevaluated?
Yeah, all the kids who were in those programs that were basically needed to be moved out have been moved out, and they've been reassessed and put back in.
And
But they have
So-
been reevaluated?
Yep.
So just a question, so they're still labeled special needs?
Special needs.
So, and I'm not sure, it was years ago I was in special ed, worked there, not in it. But, we won't go back that far. But I know that the funding comes for when you serve the students. Say, Ms. Tammy is serving these students, that's where her funding comes from. So if there's a parapro placed there, will we receive funding for that parapro?
Yes.
And that, okay.
Yeah, and if we had a certified teacher that had the adaptive ability or that could remediate at that lower level to get the kids up, that's even more effective.
Right, okay.
But again,
Finding
as
those
Mr.
without
Brooker said,
certification.
one of the challenges is that once the reevaluations were done and the determination by the IEP team was that the child did not have a significant cognitive delay. Were they behind academically? Yes. Were they behind socially? Yes. But if they come up from the elementary school for several years and they were inappropriately placed in those particular classrooms, then what we're seeing is what has happened or evolved over time. It's nobody's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Again, the decisions were made at the time with the group and teams that were working. But now what we're trying to do is correct that and catching them in middle school. We can't put them back in elementary, so we're catching them again in middle school and trying to prepare them for the journey next to high school.
And
Okay.
I think in bigger systems, they have like a step between like self-contained and
Right.
regular ed. We just don't have that ability here.
Well, and we also need to think about the students, the general ed students that are in those classrooms that are, not getting the education they need because of somebody acting out or.
Acting out, and Mr. Brooker we've had that conversation, and part of what I talked to him about is part of that, with that additional support allows that teacher or that parent to work with that student on those skills necessary if they're in the regular
Right.
class. Again, they were in classes with 3 or 4 students at one point in time, no more than 8. And so they saw all the different behaviors going on, and in my opinion, were socialized to respond and act a certain way. So now we take them out of that environment, put them in a regular classroom, and now they're touching and doing things.
And expect them to perform
and
like
expect
the
them
others.
to perform too.
Okay.
Also, when you look at our population of 304, 310 students, and we have 32 students that have special needs, and then 7 additional speech students. Those are our scores, and we're going to embrace every single one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
But know that when we're talking about moving students from developing to proficient, those are huge gains.
Yes.
Right.
So I know Sandy's talking about everyone could be proficient, and we are moving there. That is our goal. But for some of these students, getting them to developing is a major milestone.
We've done very well with that. If you look at our 2023 CCRPI numbers, we were the only school in our RESA that hit 100 points on our closing ACAPs. Would have exceeded that, but ACAP got it.
Yeah.
So we're moving those special education kids. It's just that the ones that are so
Aggressive.
They're the lower functioning kids.
Just the lower,
They're lower
if they are in
functioning, yep.
beginning and they stay in beginning the whole time, that's just something we're gonna have to embrace.
Right.
Because they're doing the very best they can based on what their abilities are. And the teachers are
Provided
there,
we're giving them everything
and
they
we're
need.
providing
Right.
everything we're
Yep.
giving them.
Right.
And that's with the hope and expectation as a special educator that they get their high school diploma. Again, that's my benchmark for all of our kids, but mainly with those with the disabilities where the learning and everything is affected by their executive functioning, their cognitive ability is affecting their instruction. So the way IDEA is written, we have to serve all they provide that
Of course.
Exactly.
So that's our job.
So,
We have
Mr.
to do so
McNair.
within the confines of doing what's best for the greater amount as well.
Right. And when I made the comment about proficient, that was specifically, Mr. Brooker, to the cell phone issue. I never made a.
Oh, no, I was saying, our goal is to get you proficient. That's what our goal is. That's what we're looking for.
Well,
You know,
and we want to help. So my question to you, Mr. McNair, is these children that were self-contained and that are SPED or whatever that have been put in the general population, are any of those children, quote unquote, on SSI or some type of disability because of their IQ and their?
I would say, yeah, when they're.
Well, I mean, who does the Medicaid billing?
We have a Medicaid company that works with us
Okay.
with that. And here's the other thing, the parents can take advantage of that too. But you'll be surprised that not only are we billing at the school level with the support that we provide, but some of the parents have taken the initiative to contact SSI and report their students as disabled, which means they receive funding also. Where is that funding used? Sometimes it's used in services to support their kids. Sometimes it's used for other purposes.
And I'm all too aware of that situation.
Well, I want to
So-
thank you, principals. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying, so, in the meantime, we all know we need extra support for these students. And the Journey at Ty Grant, from what I understand, is those get a double special time. They get a little group time with another teacher or whatever. So, my point in middle school now is, since we're in this situation and we need some extra one-on-one with these children learning to adapt socially, we don't have somebody in an admin in your department that can fill in on a part-time basis and give these children some attention?
We do have leads at the school that work with our lead teachers that do administrative and student support. But ideally, and Mr. Berger will agree with me, if we had an additional teacher that could be self-contained resource at the middle school, that would probably alleviate what we're talking about now as far as those kids transitioning from elementary to middle. As Dave mentioned earlier, most systems that are larger than us have the ability to have self-contained or a resource class for their special education population. We don't have that luxury at this point. We just have a self-contained at the elementary school, and we had one at the high school. So because we didn't have a self-contained class at the middle school, our seventh graders were transitioning from sixth graders were transitioning from, they were staying in elementary school up until sixth grade, and then
they
at
were going to
seventh
high
grade,
school.
we were transitioning into high school. So we had a middle high school self-contained program for our students with the most significant cognitive delays. Parents were in agreement with me when we did that, and part of it was because of staffing. We didn't have the resources or the staffing based on our budget to afford an additional special education teacher. So a lot of it comes back, and please do agree with me. Everything comes back, what are we being funded to support? And we're at our maximum level now, I think, with teachers based on state and federal funding, which is about 16 teachers. We have those teachers. Getting anything additional would be the district making those funds available.
So we haven't earned any more SPED teachers based on the amount of children per teacher?
We could potentially earn additional funding, but I'm not sure if we would get an additional teacher. We're at 11, 12 kids in that self-contained class. There's a potential of getting additional 4 more classes out with 4 more students today that are in our general population. We had parents at the beginning of the school year dropping off kids who had never been in school, who had disabilities that the parents didn't inform us about, that they were setting in school. The administrators over at the elementary school can share that with me because they shared it with me. I said, where did they come from? We don't know. It's like they dropped out of the air and they just came into our school. So we, as a district, and like other districts, we have an obligation to do something called child find. If we determine or make a determination that a child may have a disability, we have to evaluate, observe, and do all the things necessary to make sure, again, early on, that they're placed properly and that we're providing the necessary services for them. And so you can imagine in a classroom with those type of kids, with 2 teachers or 1 teacher, trying to meet the individual needs of those students with the para-pro. And it takes a special teacher. I spoke to one today, and I just told her how much I appreciate her because she she's it's unlike a regular classroom where you're teaching the content and making sure kids are getting it. There you're teaching social and academics and a lot of different things at a lot of different times. The 8 different personalities, or in this case, 12 different personalities.
Well, thank you, Ms. McNair, and we're going to move on. But we thank the administrators and your staff for coming and giving us your data. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you
Yes,
all.
thank y'all so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we are here to support you all, so
Yes.
just know
Yes,
that.
we are.
And we're going to do whatever we can to get what you need.
Okay.
Yes, we
Best
will.
of our ability.
And we're going to work our way on through our agenda. I know y'all have had long days. If y'all are welcome to stay. If y'all want to
Or you
leave,
can
you're
go.
either way. It's totally up to y'all.
Oh, come on. Oh, I've been
All right.
working since 4 this morning.
All right, we're going to move on to item B is our goal area 2, organizational effectiveness. Our minutes are posted. Please read over those and let us know if you see any discrepancies. Item number 2 is our financial reports. We have Ms. Tammy here. She'll go over those.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, page 1, the general operating account. We began the month with 2.48 million. We had receipts of 2.3 million, which included a transfer from the Georgia One Fund for the Energy Lease payment of 1.2 million. We had disbursements of 3.2 million, leaving us with a balance in the general operating account of 1.55 million. On to general fund revenues and expenditures, page 28. We had receipts in the general fund of 466,000, which is 2.49% of our budgeted 18 million. As you know, August was the last month of accruals, so we had no QBE revenues, and tax revenues they'll be trickling in until we get a new tax digest. So
Do we have any idea on the digest?
I wish I did.
Richie told us October 1st.
Well, don't quote me on
well,
that.
that's the
He
projection.
got an extension until October
Oh, he
1st.
got an
He's
extension.
hoping to get it done before then, but, you know.
Okay.
I have my opinions, but those are the facts.
That's your story, huh?
And he's sticking to it.
On to expenditures on page 30. Through the month of August, we have 1.6 million in general fund expenditures, which is 8% of our budgeted 18.8 million in expenditures. Changes in fund equity, page 34. We began the year with 6.2 million, so I have closed the book, so that is our good number. We ended the FY 24 year with 6.2 million in our general fund equity. And current at the end of August, we had just over 5 million in our fund equity. School nutrition, page 100. The balance of 272,000 in the school nutrition account. Fund balance on page 107, school nutrition fund balance at the end of August, $183,112. Local projects account. We have 651,000 in the local projects account. Money market account. I did not have to do a transfer last month. As you may recall, I requested $1 million, but we got through the August payroll without a transfer. We will have to do a transfer before the September payroll, but there is currently just over 4 million in the money market account. And debt service account. Yes, that's Georgia Fund 1 account, began the month with 4.6 million. We had T-SPLOS receipts of 197,783. Just so you know, that is an 8%, 8.2% increase over the August receipts. we're still on an upward growth trend there. We did make our transfer for the energy lease of $1.2 million. That leaves us with $3.6 million in the Georgia Fund 1 account. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
No questions.
No,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Miss Tammy.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to number 3, discussion of a transfer. You
Tammy
taking
does.
this, or
Okay.
Tammy?
So we, if you remember, we had over $850,000 of of projects for the FY25 budget. So all of which will not, we don't have enough money in the the local projects account. So I have allocated a few of the items in that project to be East Floss projects. And so we have that old East Floss project account. So as we make purchases for what I have allocated to be East Floss project, we'll need to draw money down from the Georgia Fund 1 to fund those projects. And the HVAC was one of the items that I allocated to the East Floss projects. So we've done the purchase order for that. I don't know how long it's going to take to complete, but I wanted to go ahead and request the transfer so when that project is complete, I can draw the money down.
All right, Mr. Massa, update on facilities.
Great evening, board. It's a pleasure to stand before you. I think that was some great presentations, and it was good to hear from our principals. Just to pick up on what Ms. Franklin was talking about, our HVAC project is, as you know, that we are really working on being cyber secure, and our program that controls all the ACs in the whole system is outdated, and it was throwing up red flags in our cybersecurity. And it was time after, in technology, after 5 or 6 years, things have to be upgraded up. So we have done our due diligence, and we got some, I believe, 3 different quotes, and ended up being really worried about who we're going with because the quote was so significantly less than the other 2 quotes. But we're real confident in the company after starting with them. Rusty and I have an onboarding meeting on the 16th to talk about the next steps. I'm hoping within a month after that we could have our new HVAC system. It won't change much here at the start. We'll have some updated graphics, but it will be in that cybersecurity suite of products that we have, and we'll feel good about not being able to break in through our AC control system. Number 2, the McIntosh County Middle School bathrooms, where they're all in all complete. The only reason that the invoice hasn't been paid is they're waiting on 1 mirror. But if we had a game tomorrow, we could definitely go in there. It looks really good. I'm very pleased with the final product. We could talk about the length and all that. Not so pleased, but the job is nearing its completion. The one thing that I will add that we will end up doing is, if you've seen in garage floors where you flake it and you paint it, we'll probably add that locally through our maintenance department just to spruce it up. But it looks great. Baby changing stations, all ADA compliant, nice, clean bathrooms that we could be really proud of. So I'm excited about that.
So we got games over there this year, football games?
You'll be ready.
I think in 2 weeks we've got the first one.
2 weeks. So happy that you guys approved a new reel mower, and with that purchase we want to protect it. So our request is we would like to put a shed out on the middle school campus that protects it and keeps it covered. And that will entail a small concrete slab and a shed with a roll-up door so we could drive it in, close it up, and have it protected. We're not talking too much money, but we'll talk about where it's going to go. It's possible that it can go. There's that bathroom, pine tree, and then we'll make it model it right after. It has a pitched roof. We'll do the stripe, and it'll be right there in that row of buildings. So we're excited about that possibility. In the projects account, we allocated enough money for a pole barn for the maintenance shop. Well, we've made a small revision to that plan, and instead of a pole barn, Mr. Mixon would like to just extend the shop out. All that is a slab out back and a covered roof, not all the sides or anything. That way they can pull the vehicles up, they pull all the mowers in without having to pull them into the building, yet they're stay covered and stay protected from the elements. So that's a slab, and we already have the tin. When we did the first pole barn at the middle school, there was we were sent the wrong tin color, and it wasn't red and it didn't match, and so we kept it knowing that we would be able to use it. And so we've got a whole pole barn's worth of tin that we can use to cover it up. So we're only talking about a concrete slab and some poles and some structure, and they can really extend that shop out and have some protected area. As you know, the Georgia weather, we need to have everything covered up without having to pull it in, even vehicles. So I'm really excited about that project. Number 4, if you've been by the middle school and you've seen the Oak Grove landscaping, what a beautiful site that is. They did a really super job. It really spruced it up, and the whole front of the middle school is really something to be proud of. From what it used to be blocked up with the kitchen to what it is now with our beautiful oak trees and the vista there, it's a grand site. So we want to thank the Girls and Boys Club. They paid for all of that, and part of our partnership, they've enhanced our school system. I want to
Mr. Massa, did the Boys and Girls Club, did y'all put misters in the flower beds?
Yes, all irrigated. Everything is
Thank you.
Everything's right. It was done in the right way. I just want to take this second to vocally say thank you to Georgia Power. We had that line that was down in front of the Oak Grove, and Mr. Braun and I both worked with Comcast, or the cable company, trying to work with them. They didn't respond, but I made one phone call to Georgia Power because it hangs on their lines, and that weekend they came and it was done. So our Georgia Power partnership really paid off, and I just wanted to give kudos to them.
Yeah, that was definitely Comcast.
Comcast.
Yeah, not Dairy.
No.
I'm just saying it was Comcast.
Did I say Dairy?
No,
you
did.
said Comcast.
It was Comcast, yes.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Absolutely. Oak Grove renovation. And the Oak Grove renovation is coming along marvelously. You'll be so happy to see the new floors are all the way through. Just a note that there's only one room that's not complete. It had all the stuff was in that science lab. We're getting rid of it. We know where it is. So as soon as that's out, we've ordered the new tile for that room, and then we'll be 100% complete with the tile. But that's not stopping any progress moving forward. This weekend, they are buffing the floors down and starting the waxing. The only 2 real big projects left that could be taken care of are we're going to go through and make sure all the valves and everything and all the toilets are all working. They haven't been flushed in a while, so some valve replacements, just routine maintenance to get that working. And then the AC unit that took care of the front office was part of the kitchen and cafeteria, so we've got some window units. It's already been, not window, splits units that are already purchased. And our AC guys making the plans to go there.
So do you have an anticipated date when the night school adult ed's going to start?
We're waiting patiently to make sure that we get done with all the required workarounds, and then as soon as Dr. Williams tells us we can move in, we will on her cue.
Okay. Thank you.
And so just so you know that we want to make you aware of all possible construction, and the Girls and Boys Club has requested that we section off their part from our part. And I think that's a good idea, no matter where it is. That it's a definite break between where we are going to be and they're going to be, and they've given us a assurance that the sectioned off part will look just like the front entrance. So it's going to be a storefront with the automatic locks and all the technology that goes with it. Mr. Boone did his due diligence, and we've gotten him all the quotes. So every door is going to be remote access or key card accessed and be on the system. So I think that that's an additional.
You're talking like the side, I'm sorry, like the Green Street side? Is that what you're talking about?
So within the building, they have a certain amount of classrooms, and then we'll have a certain amount of classrooms, a break within that building to show, not to show, to just make a clear separation of where their classrooms are and where we are, and then we can open it up. Of course, there's some fire code regulations that you have to be able to go out and in, but we'll work through all that, but it will be a nice storefront glass break, not just bricked up in a...
Like the doors they have now, or just the
yeah, they're like
metal
that,
doors?
It won't be like that. It'll be like the front entrance doors is what they're going to do.
Well, how far does the Boys and Girls Club go? Just right past that side door?
Yeah, that's where their door is.
There's two doors inside the interior of the building. So you come in the front door, there's a door, and then another door, and then the section back there. There's 4 classrooms that they just moved in, and then there's going to be 3 classrooms beyond the door that's there.
That's what they've requested.
That's what they've requested. And they'd like to put a door on right there. That will give us 5 classrooms left and some offices, and all the offices, the front office, and then 5 actual classrooms that we could use. And the bathrooms and everything on that side will be for us. That's the proposal that they've made.
So 5 rooms is enough for night school,
Alt school, more than enough.
alt school.
Yes, I believe that
We decide to bring that in?
Yeah, alt school and night school would run at different times, so they could use the same rooms. Like alt school would be in the day.
Yeah.
Night school would be at night, so you could use one room.
You could share the room.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
In the model that Coastal Plains uses, they have a room for each subject, and then what they call an intake room, where the kids at the very beginning start off in a separate area. And then an office is always nice, and then they want to really make it that it's not just right now we're just not even a satellite, we're just an extension of Glen, but the goal would be to make it a proper place where somebody could go and have an alternative, not an alternative, a different pathway to graduation. So that site could work out well. Would love to work out well. Number 6. I'm going to show you this, and the gentleman that came up, and I can't have anything to say about the football field, but hang my head on that first game. But if you'll show us what it turned out to be, give you a little look at where we are now, and knowing that it was I will call it a bad haircut day, and it burned it down, and that's with no excuses. But just so that you know, football field's back. It looks amazing. The grass was not hurt permanently, even though it looked like it had gone through a prize fight. On the last game, you can see that we're back in action.
What they do is paint it?
They spray paint it?
No. Here's how it works. We had, and I hesitate to even say this because I don't want it to sound like excuses. There was no excuse for it, but what happens is if that grass gets too high and then you cut it too low, what you see is the yellow and the brown, and it takes a week or so to come back. And what we've done now is we've raised the blades on the mower, we've done everything that we needed to do, and we're just topping it off. So if you continue to cut the very tips of the blades, which means cutting it more often. In the past, our field was so thin that we didn't have to cut it as much. When your field's thin and it's not growing, it wasn't as healthy, you don't have to cut it as much. Well, we were possibly still on that schedule, and now it's so thick and so beautiful that it grew so fast, and then we gave it up. We whacked it down, and that's the...
Who's we?
Oh, ultimately it'll be on...
The grass cutters. leave it at that. No names.
It is a move-on part. We'll be proud on Friday night. I am.
Mr. Marcy, this is another thing. He mentioned about the numbers, you can barely see them, but if you looked at the light, you can tell that it do need to be darkened.
with that, there was a situation that went on, but I think we even resolved that issue, and you'll see that on Friday night. I want to just reset and a start over, and I think that you'll be very impressed. I'm hoping.
Okay.
I don't see the numbers.
No, the numbers aren't there right now.
No, this was just I took it before that was.
Gotcha.
They hadn't even finished the painting on it, but you'll see the numbers on there Friday night, and they had a game tonight for the JV. Had a game on there, so but it'll be ready to go on Friday night, and that's not this Friday. We still have a full another week of maintaining it and
We'll
letting
play
it
away
get,
this
so
week.
it's going to actually even be better. Mr. Mixon said, and kind of made me laugh. He said, "Man, it was almost bright iridescent green," and I was just really feeling good about that. And so, multi-purpose room roof repair. This goes along with our long-term planning. Ms. Franklin is doing her due diligence and always is planning ahead. And what we've done is we've gotten two quotes on what the replacement cost will be for the roof of MCA. You know, MCA is 20 years old. Our warranty's off and is out. And so we're planning for our local contribution. We've earned state funding. So to make sure that we plan appropriately, we have to know what it's going to cost. It's hard to know what it's going to cost in 2 years, but we're getting estimates. We've gotten one estimate, and yesterday they came out, another company, a whole separate company, Mr. Leonard McCoy is the state facilities director, who's gone to a private company, has a company, and they came out, and we're going to get another estimate. And with the multi-purpose room, what we have found is that there is a drain up there. And in that drain, there was you could see, even though that we had SRS come up there and try to fix it, they didn't. Performance Services, the company that we got our original estimate, volunteer, they came up. I said, give us a price on just fixing it, knowing that we're going to do a full replacement in 20 years. We don't want to do too much to it. They found that drain, and they just put caulk around it, and we're hoping, watching it as the next rain, and if that has slowed it down, we'll know that that's the major cause of the leak, and it could be a hundreds of dollars fix rather than any kind of $34,000, $40,000 for a roof that we're going to eventually be redoing when we do the whole roof. So we'll see. We're working on that, and knowing that it hasn't gone unnoticed or without attention. We are actively working on that. All right.
Mr. Mouse, you mentioned about the roofing. Another question. Because I noticed the Georgia Power bill was a little steep. What about the solar panel? How this thing working with the solar panel?
I'll tell you that I'm really, as hard as it is to say because of the timeline, timelines are everything, I'm really not proud, but I'm pleased with this company. The company that came in did not settle for what was there. We had an original company and they were bought out, and this new company came in and said, no, this wasn't up to their standard, and they redid. They've been, to this date, when you drive by the middle school, they're working on the middle school today. So we really haven't seen the full on what it's going to be. We've gotten our first reports and we're evaluating it. It's going to be a savings. I do believe that. We just need a little bit more time for them to be live and know exactly how much kilowatts they're sending in. But everything at the elementary school is done. Hopefully this month we'll get a third report that we could really make some comparisons and know something a little bit more. And then they're still not done at the middle school. And what I want to say about that is that I would rather them take their time, because there's no cost to us. Nothing has cost us anything. And it was a good thing to see a company say, that's not up to our standards, and then put hours and hours and days and months into redoing. To me, they rewired it from scratch. The only thing that was left was the solar panels that the other company put on, and they've gone the extra mile because they want to obviously see a return themselves and make sure that it's producing. So yes, I think that we are going to see a savings. We're just being patient, no cost, it's not hurting us, and I feel like the company is striving for that because of the communication that they have with me and Ms. Franklin, It's constant. They tell us exactly what's going on.
You hear from them like every 2 days.
Every week they're there, and it's no games that they're playing. They said that they wanted it right, and I believe it because of what I'm seeing, the proof in the pudding. When you have teams and teams of guys up there day after day after day, they're doing something. So, but that's a great question.
Thank you.
I hope to see an actual number that we can bring to you, and I slap it on the podium and say, here it is, big time. Any other facilities questions?
How about COVID?
All right, so as you know, or maybe don't know, just to make everybody aware that we follow the CDC guidance, and we made some adjustments to our guidance to the schools. It was always that if you got COVID that you were 5 days quarantine and then you could come back. The CDC guidance doesn't say that anymore, that it's as long you can come back as long as you're fever free without medication after 24 hours. So when I say how many current cases we have, I really can't tell you a current case because you got it, 24 hours you're back. So, but I do have a number that we've had 21 reported cases today. 9 have been staff and 12 have been students. So if you were to ask me, well, how many are out today? That would mean I would have to know exactly who came out today because they could go out today, and then tomorrow midday, if they left in the morning, they could come back. You know, we are not monitoring it how many are out. We're just monitoring total cases and working through it that way.
And Southern Company has been cleaning extra in rooms that we know that there's been COVID, or even just the viruses. We've had a lot of stomach virus and just different things, especially at the elementary school.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people at the north end of the county that have COVID now too.
Yeah.
It's been
COVID
busy.
is one thing, and then the other thing, just so that you're aware and you know, that strep throat is the other major concern that's out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know this has taken us a long time tonight, much longer than normal, but we don't do this with our principals but once a year, and so we like to hear how our students are doing. So I apologize for us taking so long tonight.
I have one thing from Mr. Massa. Mr. Massa, of course, we all know about the tragedy yesterday. Are we in compliance with Sheriff's Department or with active shooter drill or?
In preparation, I took some notes and I have a few things to say about our safety measures. We're so blessed to have the paper here, and maybe they can help us get the word out that I feel really confident about what McIntosh County has in place for our safety measures. First of all, our partnership with our local Sheriff's Department is tight. I'm so proud of them, and I'm so happy that they took the time, that every one of their officers have been through every one of our schools this summer. They also did I would say almost every one of their officers. There might have been a shift that didn't make it. So
they had an emergency come up, and that one shift didn't make it.
But almost every officer's been through. They did active drills at the high school where there was live fire with, I wouldn't say live ammunition, but simulated ammunition that actually fired projectiles, and some people got lit up, as you know, your son was part of that. So our partnership is strong, and I believe that also our SROs are ready to act. But not only that, the little things that we're doing in McIntosh are really making a big difference. Our gates and our perimeter systems, the board made a historic investment in fencing, and our fencing around every school is tight. And the only area that we possibly can improve on is the back fence behind Todd Grant going to the
I was just going to mention that.
The cemetery,
and the
but it's still
playground?
up, and it is a deterrent. But everywhere else, we have great fencing.
Can I say this? When you look at the fencing, because I noticed that Liberty County has I guess that is barbed wire topping. There's no topping. If you come on this side here, there's no toppings nowhere. You can easily cross the
Razor
fence.
wire?
Or either the angle, how the fence comes up.
Not
at an angle.
razor line.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
He
about.
know what I'm talking
At
about.
the middle
They call it
school,
toppers.
We used to have that, and if that's the board's wishes, we could always do that. But I just don't feel like that's a look. I know that's not about looks, but it's just a perception category that
I know they talk about prison look, but guess what? I don't care what they say about prison look. It's about safety.
I believe
And
that
if you look at that fence, when I could cross that fence easily.
ultimately our goal is
And
to
I'm a
keep
big
out,
guy.
keep out vehicles and cars and people. If anybody wants to get through a fence, it's as easy as a cutter.
Wire cutter.
So I'm not sure that would be. But like I
Okay.
said, we
I mean-
can look into that for sure. But before just so that we know that our security entrance at the high school was a huge game changer, and the board making provisions to have that makes that high school more secure than ever. And the middle school and the elementary school all have a secure way. Somebody has to come through our front offices and be buzzed in every school, and I think that's a huge safety precaution. Not in addition, door jar sensors are on many of our doors that if they're open for a certain amount of time, they're beeping. So or they're sending an email to certain administrators. I think that's a huge detail. Our Centegic system, again, the board made I think a great investment. We upgraded to the new Centegics, and the alerting system is in good repair. It's brand new. So everybody's got new badges, everybody's been trained, and we know. And then at the system-wide meeting, we made it very clear that we would rather you err on the side of push the button, we use it as a drill if it's not true, and I hope that we've given our teachers and our staff the freedom to make an alert, see something, say something. And then we have a robust drill schedule. Yes, under compliance, every school has had a intruder, the wording would say that you had a active shooter drill. What we do is a code red lockdown. Not that we're running around having a shooter act like he's shooting, but we act like something happened that you had to lock down just if this shooter was there. And just today, all the schools have registered it. There's a portal that you register that you've had your drill, and we've had that drill. And our drill schedule for whether all the drill things that we have is robust, and they have to do things every month, and it's checked out. And then last but not least, cameras. Cameras are so important in this day and age. I think it's more important than an alarm system. Alarm will tell you, but something's happening. Maybe someone broke in the door, but our camera systems where we're going to have our best bet. Cameras in almost every single classroom, and we've added additional cameras all over the place. So our campuses has the perimeter or the interior and the outside of the school covered, and our resource officers have so we have a strong camera system, and again, thanks to the board for all your provisions that you've made to make sure that our system's secure. So with all that being said, I feel like McIntosh is as safe as we can be at this time. I did see some communication about doors being locked. It is a McIntosh County expectation that if there's kids in the classroom, that every single door is locked. And I personally do safety walkthroughs on a very regular basis. I pull the principal out unexpected, and we go to every single door. And then we address if there's ever a door unlocked with a kid in there. So they know it's coming, and our principals are doing a great job with that.
And our SROs would do that 2 or 3 times a day.
So we're doing the things that we need to do.
Okay. Given the fact that we had this happen in Georgia, and that can happen anywhere, and I understand and appreciate every step we've taken to secure our children. Given the fact that we've taken possession of a couple of knives this year and that kind of thing, and that the 14-year-old got on school campus with an AR-14 or 15, whatever it is today, are we giving any thought to walking through a metal detector or anything else? I mean, we can lock the doors all day long, but if a kid walks in with a gun in his backpack, well, that's happened.
It's a consideration that we've talked about. But I would just want to make one small comment that about the kid being reported. Another thing that I'm really proud of is our safety team, is that we meet every single month, and we are evaluating cases that go back many years. We keep a track on all the students that have had a significant situation that's happened, and we talk about them and say, where are they? What's going on with them? So we're doing our due diligence in that. If there was ever a situation, we're doing our best with that. And that's another aspect of our safety, is that something happens with a kid, they're on our list, and we've even gone as far as to have some kids get checked, on a regular basis. So, yes, something to consider. Again, that's a perception look. I don't know. I understand, and I don't want to think that I'm callous to it, but walking through a metal detector and then the staffing that takes, you can't just leave it there. That means that somebody's watching it, and then all you've done is you've converted them to another door, If you want to put a metal detector every single door and have someone there watching, and that's the way we're going to catch something, we could possibly do that. However, one metal detector or two right at one door, or even the two, only diverts them to how they're going to get that in, if that's the true intent of them getting something in. But I'm not against it, and I'll look into it if that's the charge that I'm put with.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it was so funny. We just started reviewing safety plans, and so Mr. Moss and I both are reading through those now, and I said, did everybody do their drill and report it? And so he checked, and they had, so I was very...
Well, and thank you for that, because I know coming on the heels of this, parents are going to be asking, and Miss Kathleen, I'm glad that she's here to get that, so that when the parents ask, we have it there.
We've done it.
All right.
All right, so community involvement, I will make this our engagement short and sweet. The Women Empowering Success that started in Shellman Bluff, it was a North End group, but it's kind of spread throughout the county now. There's over 60 members. We met with a couple of their representatives and MCA personnel. They would like to do some scholarship workshops with our graduates, and then they are very interested in maybe becoming REACH mentors. So I am going to ask Ms. Hewlett to go out and do talk to them at one of their luncheons. They do a luncheon every month. Dairy and Telephone, we just want to say thank you for the stuff, the truck, and thank you to Mr. and Ms. Brigman for delivering all of that and for organizing it. It's like a little shop over there. Family Connection, we had a reception last week for Miss Genevieve in her retirement, and our board is searching for a new director at this time. And then I had my first meeting of the year with the Board of Health, and thankful to our school nurses and Brooke for all they do to get our students vaccinated. There has been an issue with the GRITS 2.0, which is a new computer system, and it's not reporting accurately. So they have pushed out for 90 days the vaccination that we, tell them we're going to send you home or whatever. They've pushed that out to 90 days. It used to be, it was 60. And we're one of the top counties that has a large percentage of our kids vaccinated before they come to school, so we're very excited about that. He was bragging on us, the doctor was. Y'all do a really good job. I said, well, thank you. Have you met our nurses?
All right. Well, we will move on to our quality workforce, which is personnel, which will lead us into executive session. So could I have a motion to adjourn to executive session for, we have legal and personnel, or just legal and personnel?
Motion.
Okay, motion by
Second.
Mr. Hewlett, second by Mr. McIver. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will return, and again, I apologize for us. Okay, the board had adjourned to executive session to discuss personnel and legal issues. Can I have a motion to return to open session?
Motion.
Ms. McDonald. Second by Mr. Straggles. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. This is going to be a stupid question. Are there any comments?
No, ma'am.
The only comments I would make is to please keep the people of Winder, Georgia,
Yes.
in your prayers.
Yeah.
All right, we're adjourned.
Oh, wait a minute. There's one more thing. I'm teasing.
Yeah, one more night.
Go ahead, Sam.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
more. Just
Go
one more.
ahead.
Yeah.
Off the record, say all you want to say.
Like a judge.
Help you.